Well, Taylor Swift dropped a new album. So in honor of that, I'll tell you something right now. I'd rather burn my whole life down than listen to one more second of all this bitching and moaning. The sun sucked ass again today, Matthew. I know you don't know the song, but guess what? The Suns are having the Timberwolves, baby.
No, I don't know that song at all. And I was wondering what was going to come because you started every pod with a song. And you started talking. I'm like, wait, this is no good. But you're still in a good mood, it sounds like, huh? Even though you just talked about burning down your whole life or whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty much the theme of the song. It's like it's the Suns lose. For those of you who Suns lose again horribly. Same script as before. Like kind of going back and forth for a while. Grayson Allen gets hurt, we lose, and Grayson Allen is hurt. That's for sure. So it's definitely going to be, for those of you who are listening or watching. Thank you. It's definitely going to be one of those therapy session type podcasts here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. And we can't do it alone. We have to bring in Suns Geek for this one. Looking ever so fly with a beautiful Suns Jam Session hat. I love how that looks, man. That's the best part of my day.
Ow!
First off, thank you, gentlemen, for having me. And I'm not much of a singer, but I want to sing to you guys real quick.
Please.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Yeah, that was a disaster, and we need some Suns therapy session like right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Taylor Swift.
Yes, that's her new song.
That's Suns and Garfunkel. Yeah, it's definitely going to be I have a feeling one of those shows in which we talk about a lot of things that are wrong with this team after a 12-point loss in game 2 of the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road. No road team to this point. If you're listening to this later and somehow the Mavericks win, or I don't know what the score is currently in the Indy Milwaukee game, but if one of them win, then so be it. But no home team has lost thus far in the playoffs, and the Suns have contributed 2 of those losses. And it's a lot of we're going to be doing some bitching and moaning on this one, and we hope that misery loves company, because that's what you're going to get. I'm not in the best of moods after watching that game, after consuming that, after coming home from work a little bit early for a 4:30 Arizona start time, and watching the Suns just get punked again. Get punked and not look like they have the team with the best players on the court, which is obviously the frustrating challenge as a fan base that we are facing, considering how much money and talent is invested in this team. To see them struggle in the manner that they did, giving all credit where it is due to the Minnesota Timberwolves defense, it's not something that I'm leaving with a good feeling in my stomach. So that and more on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast, which is also simultaneously being casted onto the Suns Geek channel. So a reminder to everybody who is watching in the chat, hit that thumbs up button, smash Hulk it, as my buddy Suns Geek would say. And if you don't have the Autograph app as of yet, I got to ask one question. Why? Why don't you? It's a great app. It's literally I talk about a lot of things on here. This is one that I actually have been spending a lot of time. That's where I go and I get all my Suns content, is right there through the Autograph app. And I'm gonna just see for yourself. This is you got to get this application.
Hey, you.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Are you a Suns fan?
Yeah, I'm a Suns fan.
Well, have you heard of the Autograph app?
No, I haven't. Can you tell me more, Kermit?
Well, I found the best app for Suns fans. We all spend so much time consuming news and content about the Suns, and it often feels like we never get any love in return. It's like me and Miss Piggy. But Autograph's new app, Autograph Fandom Rewarded, is finally giving back to the fans, rewarding us for things we're probably already doing, like attending games and buying merch, scrolling Twitter, reading blogs, and listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast. So if you download the application, you can earn coins for all your fan actions, get ranked, level up, and unlock amazing offers and tickets, merch, and discounts, and more. more. The Suns community is now in the app, so you can start unlocking rewards right away. Hit the link below and use the code SUNSJAM to join. Check it out.
Well, that's unbelievable. I better head to the autograph application and use promo code SUNSJAM right now.
Oh, you're on mute, and I was on mute.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck's going on?
Oh, that's embarrassing. I was just saying, like on the
checking if my thing was working.
on the autograph app, I'm like
Hey.
I'm the 5th most engaged fan right now. So
go.
check it out, guys. It's a great place to share in the misery as this season's about to end. Elon Andor in the chat, $2 in the super chat. Thank you for that. Booker's garbage. Is it possible to trade him?
Hell yeah.
Oh god,
We're
that's
gonna-
where we are
Hell
as Suns
yeah.
fans now.
Dude, pop them if you got them,
Set 'em
guys.
up
Let's
ago. Set 'em
let's
up
go.
ago.
Suns lose in game 2, this time by a final score of 105-93. That's right. The vaunted offense of the Phoenix Suns is averaging 94 points a game against the top defense in the league in the Minnesota Timberwolves. And that brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I've got to ask.
So, Matthew, I've got to ask, as we look at how this series has played out and how the Phoenix Suns are executing their offense or lack thereof, are they afraid to shoot?
Yeah. They're afraid to do a lot of things. Okay, so watching this game, obviously the frustration with the Suns is, can they have back-to-back good possessions? Can they handle the ball? Can they stop turning the ball or leading to the opposing team scoring at will? That's always been a problem this season. In the playoffs, it's looked even worse against this Minnesota team that has stood up tall to this team. They showed their length. They made things very, very difficult for the Suns team. But you hope, you have guys like Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal that can maybe figure things out. But they absolutely can't. They've had no flow in this offense. Even when they want to come out in the second half and they want to go on that 20-0 run, they can't do it because they can't get out of their own way. They're afraid to do a lot of things. Shooting is one of them. Eric Gordon's not afraid to do anything. Eric Gordon's the one guy that will absolutely go out there and just jack up the three or try to get to the rim. He'll get it blocked, but he had a good game today. I think everyone's scared. The leaders, Devin Booker, scared. Kevin Durant can't get a good shot. Bradley Beal's doing his best, but the guy that you want, Devin Booker, is definitely scared to do a lot of things out there.
To infamously quote Devin Booker, chillin', got another chance tomorrow. This team just makes no sense from top to bottom. How do you have 3 of the greatest scorers we have ever seen, including guys like Grayson Allen, who've had a career year, and Eric Gordon, who's a veteran in this league, for example, and we can't even put up 100 points? It makes zero sense. This team has been broken for a very long time. I know everybody loves to blame Frank Vogel, and yes, he has a lot of blaming, to be dealt. And you can blame the coaching staff and everything, but it is on our leaders. It is on our big 3. It is literally on everybody. It's like that Giannis meme. Like, even the equipment manager needs to be better. You know what I mean? This team makes no sense. And John, you and I and Matthew were talking before this live show started, this podcast started, and I was like, the only thing I agreed about with Greg Anthony tonight was when he was talking about the quality of shots that the Suns weren't really getting, the lack thereof quality of shots. And Matthew said it so perfectly, man. It just seems they can't get into a rhythm. They can't have that 20-point lead or go on that like 10-0 run or whatever. They just can't do that. There were a few times tonight where the Wolves would go on a big run, and then Kevin Durant would like hit a shot, and then we'd like turn the ball over. We just couldn't get into rhythm. And I know we're going to dive into it, but it is all a credit to the Wolves. And I mean this when I say this.
Yes.
Suffocating defense. They are literally choke holding us and suffocating us with their defense. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's, the one thing that entering this series, when we talked about how the Phoenix Suns played against the Minnesota Timberwolves during the regular season, the Suns were 3-0, and they were able to outscore them. And that's what made this a delectable matchup for Phoenix. Was you're like, hey, due to the sheer fact that we have three of the best scorers in the NBA with some quality ancillary pieces around them, even if they play good defense, you can't stop everybody. And what has happened at home in the postseason, in front of a fan base that is starving for success, a fan base that has not seen their team win a series since 2004. Okay, that's 20 years ago. It's the last time that the Minnesota Timberwolves won a series in the postseason. So they have that energy behind them. They have the defensive know-how and connectivity. You have a young player in Anthony Edwards who's going to keep shooting. Yeah, even though the Suns tried to shut him down, he continued to jack up the shots and hit some quality ones, some daggers here and there that were really accentuating points on runs. But that defense, I think it's the one thing that we didn't really take into account is how scared the Suns would be, because they look scared. Every time they get the ball, they're pump faking. And unfortunately, because of that pump fake, they're allowing that defender to close. And these Timberwolves defenders aren't closing by jumping by a pump fake. They're closing, with a hand up, but with their feet on the ground. So if you try to pump fake and drive by them, they're there to defend you appropriately. Devin Booker looks scared out there. It's something Matthew and I, we were doing the playback on the Bright Side of the Sun, playback.tv. If you want to come to a depressing playback channel during a Suns game, please join us. And we were just talking about it. And you can see Devin Booker affected by the presence of Jaden McDaniels. And it reminded me of those matchups a few years ago when Matisse Thybulle used to really give Devin Booker some challenges because of his length as a defender, because he wouldn't bite on any of Booker's moves. So Booker would start to force things. He'd be very cognizant of where he was, and he would start to shoot out of rhythm in an effort to try to avoid having any defensive pressure from Matisse Thybulle. That's happening with Jaden McDaniels. He looks out of sorts. He's grumpy. He's fouling himself out of games out of frustration. And what we're witnessing is the things that we saw and witnessed this whole season with the team, number 6 team in the Western Conference, right? All these flaws, they're just being magnified on this level. And the hope that we had a week ago when we sat there and we said, you know what? This team could do it because they have the talent. This team could do it because they do have a championship coaching pedigree. All the things that we were excited for at the beginning of the season, we allowed ourselves to have hope all of last week while the team had a week off after gaining that number 6 seed. And it's all just come crashing right back down to earth as it did during the regular season. This team is unbelievably flawed. They have an attitude issue. They have a connectivity issue. They have an issue in so many different facets that I can't even start to truly explain. And here's the craziest thing. I'm not even upset because I expect it. If this is last season or especially 2 seasons ago, I'm pissed off. I'm angry. Right. I want to pound my fist. But I expect it from this team, which is sad. The most expensive team in Suns history. I expect this type of performance.
And it's just sad, man. It's like I feel like this season has truly broken my Phoenix Suns heart. You know what I mean? And it's funny because you're like, wait a minute, Suns Geek, we got blown out in game 7 of last year. And then game 6 and 7 versus that Mavs series. And we blew the 2-0 lead in the finals and everything. It's like, no, this was the season that just straight up broke my back, broke my heart. And it's kind of like you, John, I'm not really surprised anymore. It's just, I'm at a loss for words is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, being down 0-2. Does my audio sound a little better? Good.
Yes, it does.
I'm back. Okay, good.
Yep.
Being down 0-2, it's not over, of course. It's not. But that's the frustrating thing is the whole time we're watching this game, we really think this is a game that we can pull out still in the third quarter. Even in the fourth quarter, I'm like, hey, maybe they can get down by 9 with about 5 minutes left or 4 minutes left, and they have a chance. That's just us all season long still trying to believe in this team and just believe to pull it out because we're trying to figure things out, why this team's playing the way they are, why Book is just passing up shots, why he doesn't look aggressive, why he doesn't have the same fucking attitude he used to have in the playoffs. what is going on? But then John's just like, I'm sick of figuring it out. I'm like, yeah, I should be the same way. Why am I still trying to figure out this team and just accept it? Because I do try to manifest things in life. I still try to be positive. But when you're watching this game, I'm just realizing like why we don't have any viewers, because I'm so fucking negative. And I'm just like, I'm really bad with this team, and I can't manifest anything positive because I do expect it. I do expect the worst. I don't expect these runs to come so clean. I always expect them to turn the ball over or miss a big shot or miss 2 easy lay-ins in a row from Kevin Durant. I expect that to happen for this team. So they're a cursed team this year. But it comes down to like, who do you want to blame? I guess I know Kevin Durant says there's always going to be a blame. There's always going to blame a player. I do blame a lot of these guys. It goes around. It goes from Eubanks missing his stupid plays at the rim. He had some good plays tonight, just some bad mistakes around the rim. Kevin Durant missing those layups, like I said. Book passing up on shots. Bradley Beal missing some wide open threes tonight. Like, of course it goes around, and you can't really blame the coach, but there's always been one guy who's been in all these games, in the playoff games, and when we've been blown out in the past, it's been Devin Booker. And to say, it was funny earlier in the chat, someone mentioned DeAndre Ayton. It wasn't Ayton's fault. It is funny because Booker is still here. Booker, that's why at the beginning of the series, he has to be the leader. He has to be the guy in the playoffs to lead this team for sure. But that's me hoping again. That's me wishing and wanting again. And he's obviously not that player. He's obviously the guy that you can rely on for some nice shots. If he has the ball a lot more of the time during the game, some higher efficiency rating might go up. But right now, if he's taking time off the ball and he's on the court, it affects him drastically.
Yeah, and I think that, again, the blame game, I'm not really blaming any specific player, and we'll talk about performances and critique them, and in a sense you could see that as a blame, but I think that the system is broken because of the totality of the team and the way it's constructed with the players it has. Unfortunately, due to some of the attitudes on this team and the lackadaisical nature in which they approach this season, we talked about it throughout the season. You can't expect to just turn on a switch and all of a sudden you become this great offensive team that you have the capacity and ability to do, because guess what? This team all season couldn't put together 48 good minutes in one game. So how are they going to go against the best competition in the NBA, in this case, the best defense in the NBA, and all of a sudden have the ability to put together 48 solid minutes? What did we see? We saw 2.5 great quarters to start this game. They're right in it. It's a point. They're up by a point at halftime. Going through that third quarter, they're up by a point with about 5 minutes left, and then boom, 12-0 run. And they can't recover, right, Suns Geek? They just can't recover from it. They can't put together that consistent a consistent basketball game.
2 takeaways from what you said is that we're in game 2 of the NBA playoffs, and we have yet to see this Phoenix Suns team put together a full 48 minutes of like consistent, good, encouraging for the fans basketball. And can I read a tweet from somebody who I believe writes for your guys' website? One of my favorite followers on Twitter, by the way.
Absolutely love it if you would.
And I feel like it kind of goes with what we've talked about. We haven't even been live for 20 minutes yet. And I feel like this is like the perfect tweet here. This is from AZ Sports Zone. I call him Zona Hoops on Twitter.
Yep.
Writer at Bright Side of the Sun and everything. But he says, the Suns deserve all the smoke for how they played these first 2 games. Pathetic effort and execution on both ends. That last part, execution on both ends. It is mind-blowing. It makes 0 sense, man. And the Timberwolves are statistically the best defense in the league. And clearly we saw tonight, they are a physical, scrappy, long, athletic defensive team. But it still just makes 0 sense how the Phoenix Suns can't just go on these runs or climb back into games. And when they get punched in the mouth, they can't punch back. It just makes 0 sense, man. I don't care how much you analyze the game, how much film you watch. You can't explain it any better to me. I don't know.
And I'll say this. I'm glad my friend Dave King ain't around to see this, because you know what he would say?
Fuck.
It's exactly what he would say, because this is just, it's embarrassing. And, it's something that I tweeted out, and I said, when Drew Eubanks was one of the highlights of your team's performance in the playoffs, you're pretty fucked. That's where the Suns were tonight, is Drew Eubanks was one of the guys who actually looked good tonight.
That's sad.
And we talked about it on the playback. It's like, should Eubanks be getting minutes? And I mean,
it's not going to save us.
No, nothing, but nothing will.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing will. And I mean, obviously game 3, we're going to have to see something. I don't even, the funny thing is, like, if you were to ask me what adjustments need to occur for the Phoenix Suns, I literally would just regurgitate everything I said before game 2, because this was a wash, rinse, repeat performance from the Suns. They can't put together 48 consecutive minutes of quality basketball. They compete for the first 2.5 quarters. They allow a run. They can't get themselves out of their own way. They can't hit shots. They go into hero ball. Kevin Durant's taking fadeaway 19-footers off his back foot. Devin Booker's afraid. They start missing consecutive layups, and all of a sudden the game's over. And that's the game. And that's literally what happened the first 2 games. The difference is we lost by 25 in the first one because Anthony Edwards went nuclear. This one we only lost by 12. And Matthew must be on mute. So
yeah. So the defense was better. Obviously, the Wolves struggled from 3.
It was.
But the thing is, like, the ball would not bounce the Suns' way towards the end of the game, right? They had their chances to get back in it. I think the Wolves kept giving it up. We had those cat minutes that are just as good as Russell Westbrook minutes to get you back in the game. Like, he's out there to get you back. He'll give you 2 or 3 solid possessions in a row just to turn it over and make a dumb fucking play. The Suns could not take advantage of that. So I think they had their defense there. This was the game to steal, obviously, but their offense and just how they couldn't put anything together on that side is what really screwed them. And once they get down by 7 or 8, that's when it's like really scary. It's like, come on, call a timeout when they're down by 5, call a timeout when they're down by 7. But it gets into the double figures. And then once that happens, the Suns do not believe in themselves. They don't have belief. They're all lost. They try to play ISO ball, hero ball, whatever. And it never works out. If they have a great play, if there's a great pass there, if there's a great opening, it gets deflected, or else maybe they just bounce it off their own knees. So they just couldn't get out of their own way, obviously. But I really do think the defense was better. It got them to the point to where they could have stole this game, but they let go of that, and they just get down on themselves.
They did, and the defense was better, but again, they got in their own way, and I think that's a good way to put it, because they started to get grumpy. I guess is the best way I can put it, is they were really starting to be frustrated with some of the calls that weren't necessarily going their way, which weren't going either way. It's been physical the entire postseason. If you show me a play in which you think that the Phoenix Suns should have got a call, I'll show you a play in which the Timberwolves believe they should have got a call. It's just kind of where it's at right now. But the Suns start to get in their own head. They start, Devin Booker and Jaden McDaniels get into it a little bit, and then the ball goes off of Kevin Durant's foot, quote unquote, when actually it goes off of Naz Reid's foot. Frank Vogel's losing his goddamn mind. Should get teed up, but doesn't. And then, the Suns give up a points on that possession as well. So, I mean, it's a comedy of errors for the Phoenix Suns. And unfortunately, amongst these comedy of errors, Grayson Allen goes down.
Hi, Barbie.
Oh, hi, Alan.
Oh, Grayson Allen, our fuck shit up guy.
So you don't know which one I'm going to play now, because I got the new one too. So
I love that one though.
That's
that
what
one's
everyone
etched
kind
in
of
my
voted
brain,
for.
dude.
That's when we've rolled with it all season. But we have actually coming from the sidelines, we have Gavin from the Aussie Suns Fans podcast. He's there in Minnesota. Says Grayson's X-ray came back negative. He is day to day. But if you saw the injury when he came down on his right ankle, the same one that he sprained in game 1, it did not look good. And it was unfortunate. It happened with about 9 minutes left. Yeah, look at that. Suns Geek's holding up a picture. I mean, that mofo sideways, dude. Not a good look for Grayson Allen's ankle. And it's unfortunate because, one, the Suns were up 3 when it happened. Okay, they lost by 12. What's that, a -15, right?
Yep.
In game 1, when Grayson Allen went down, the Suns were down 10. They lost by 25. If my math serves me correctly, that's a -15 as well. So both times Grayson Allen's gone out of the game, both times the Suns have gone -15 without him out there. The best three-point shooter in the league, somebody who can be a run stopper, somebody who definitely is a part of this offense, and not a primary, but somebody who opens up opportunities for scoring. And knowing that he potentially could be hurt moving forward, and we might not see him again in this series, which means we might not see him the rest of the season. What are your guys' thoughts on Grayson Allen?
It's just unfortunate, man, because he has just had such an incredible season, man. But even prior to both ankle injuries in games 1 and 2, it kind of seemed like the Wolves did a great job of doing what they've done in the first 2 games, taking not only just us out of our rhythm, but taking him out of the rhythm. He had 3 or 4 shot attempts in game 1. I don't even know how many he took.
It was 0 for 3.
Yeah, exactly. Like in this game, they just locked him down, man. But it's just unfortunate, man. I just feel bad. I just hope that he's okay. Frank Vogel saying he's day to day. Obviously, that means they probably don't know anything yet. You know what I mean? It probably means the ankle's still getting looked at and worked on. I just hope he's okay, because we're gonna need him. We're gonna need all hands on deck at this point, man. But just wish Grayson Allen the best. If we don't see him the rest of the season or season series, I just hope he comes back stronger and better next year, man. It's just so unfortunate.
Yeah, you have definitely one of the biggest Grayson Allen fans right here, sitting right here in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
When it happened, obviously back-to-back games, it's heartbreaking. It is. But what I think, obviously, it's like, well, is he going to be a difference maker? I think so. I don't know. I don't know if he's a difference maker in this series so far. Obviously, I mean, the stats are miserable, but he hasn't finished a game yet. So
True.
I would love to see him, of course, in the fourth quarter to see if he can knock down those shots that Booker won't take, or the ones that Eric Gordon might miss if that was him, or if Royce O'Neal, if he was in there for Royce, who was turning the ball over. It's one of those things where I want him to play, but I don't know if he's a difference maker in this series. Do you think so, John? I mean, will he be a guy? Obviously, we're going to miss him, but is he really that big of a difference maker?
I think so. He's a great 3-point shooter and an outlet to the big three, who, again, as I mentioned, are very tentative to shoot in this series. But that being said, as Suns Geek mentioned, the Wolves have done a good job locking him up to this point. He's 0 for 3 in the first game. He's 1 of 2, through 2 quarters and 3 minutes in this one. So, and his only made 3 was the first 3 points for the Suns, which was like a fall away 3-pointer at 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, he barely got it off too before the shot clock expired.
Yeah, I mean, they just the Suns overall. I don't know if against this team and the way that they're playing defense, that if it's something that's going to matter. Now, again, you have to understand something, obviously, about the postseason. Whenever you lose, you feel like you'll never win again. And whenever you win, you feel like you never lose again. And this team's coming home, and they're going to be playing in front of their home crowd with the piped-in defense noise. That's one thing I noticed last night. I don't know if you guys were watching both those games last night, the Knicks and the Sixers, and then the Lakers and Denver. And one thing I noticed, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic night of basketball. And I'm watching one of the games, pushing around a cart at Costco, watching on playback, which was awesome. I love technology, except when you go into the produce room, then you lose all connectivity and you're like, oh, Joel Embiid looks like he's about to go for a dunk. And you're like, what happened? I have no idea. But one thing that I noticed in that Lakers versus Denver game was in the fourth quarter, when things got tight, the crowd just into it, screaming defense, defense, defense. And it wasn't piped in. And it just made me, again, embarrassed to be a Suns fan, because to anybody who's been to the Footprint Center,
John, your mic go out?
Yeah, your mic, something's going on with the mic. Oh. I get what John's talking about, though. I haven't even been to Footprint Center this season, and I know that the Suns fans haven't really been, as loud or as encouraging.
Anything?
I know. There you go. Now you're back.
I tried to save you there, John.
I appreciate it. No, I
just can't stop laughing when it happens.
Oh man,
you guys to start talking.
Well, especially right there, because I was just like, if you've been to the Footprint Center and you've heard the unorganic mic'd in sound, it's embarrassing.
Defense,
it's nonstop.
Defense.
It's egregious. When Steve Kerr earlier in the season said it sounds like a club in there, they should have listened to that feedback and allowed the fans to chat and to murmur. And then when they're engaged, be engaged, not forcibly try to make up for the lack of fandom in there sometimes. Especially come postseason. I'm interested to see it come game 3, because the prices of tickets go up, and that means the quality of fans typically go down.
Yep.
And yeah, my dad used to always hear Steve Nash, Steve Nash. I see the same thing.
That's funny.
And I what was I saying the other day? I was watching on playback and I could hear it, and it was I don't remember, but it's horrible. It's horrible. And to see an opposing arena like Ball Arena where the Denver Nuggets play, and to see them engaged and actually chanting, it just, again, there's aspects of the Suns which are embarrassing, and that's one of them. That's one of my big ones. But the way that this big three is performed, I mean, we are a laughingstock of the league. We are a joke in the league. We are a failed experiment across the league. Everything that everybody said is unfortunately becoming true and come to fruition. And as a Suns fan, you can't even sit there and try to defend it. You just got to kind of either ignore the noise and act like you're Kevin Durant, just be like, I just don't give a shit. Or you can just agree with them. And that's typically the route that I take when people start talking shit. Like, there's always that one guy, whenever I'm watching Suns Geek stream, there's like a Lakers fan who will randomly come in and he'll just like, Suns are trash. And I go, we are trash. And he goes, yeah, you guys have never won anything. I'm like, that's correct. I'm like, oh, so you know a lot about the franchise history. Like, I start trolling the troll with the fact that's like, dude, you
like, oh, what do I do now?
He's in every stream too, man.
I'm surprised he hasn't showed up yet. You know, he's probably still licking his wounds after giving up that 20-point lead to Denver last night. But you just have to start agreeing with them, because at the end of the day, they're right.
Yeah, they're absolutely right. And that's the worst part, is when I do hear the post-game interviews and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of them. I stopped listening to them because it's the same shit every time. You kind of just give into it with the way KD is and the way KD's kind of explained himself in this team and the way how blunt Beal has been. And I mentioned one before the first game of the playoffs. Frank Vogel did say, like, I got the team's attention finally. We were watching some film like that. I'm like, oh, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, they don't want to hear that shit. Like, you know what I mean? So to me, it's like, I'm okay with it, I guess, but it does seem like a team that's just, they're okay with whatever. There's something else there that we'll never know. And they're okay till next season.
Yeah. Everything you guys just said, I'm going to echo it. I have nothing else to say, John, especially with what you said, man, just 110% on. Like, you guys know me. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. But that's kind of hard to do this season because the Suns just keep disappointing, keep letting down. And sometimes I just have to make stuff up at this point because there's just not that much to talk about. It's sad, man. It
really is. And again, I don't think that it's ever, it's something that we as fans are okay with, but at the same time, like, you accept it for what it is. And you go, you know what? The one thing that I know about the Phoenix Suns is they're just going to continually just kick you in the balls over and over and over and over and hit you in a brick with the balls.
Yeah, we do it ourselves.
Yeah, we do it ourselves by watching this team.
No, I could do it myself, all right?
Yeah, it's like I don't.
The balls.
Yeah, just we're watching a video of guys just hitting themselves in the nuts. That's literally
like the last dude.
The 2023-24 season summed up here. The Phoenix Suns season summed up right here.
But you know what? Gavin did say that the Corgi did guess the Suns will lose the first 2 games and win the next 4 and win the game in 6 or win the series in 6. So we have that to look forward to. So I'm looking forward to those texts or those tweets and for us to stay positive as Suns fans.
We'll try. Shout out to Kenny, $1.99. Says, appreciate you, John and Matthew and Suns Geek. He's out. Shake my fucking head. Michael Evans, $2 in the super chat. Again, thank you guys for supporting our channels. Says, can we win the next 4 out of 5? I'll ask you guys that question.
Absolutely.
We can.
Yeah, we can, but it's gonna be a gritty, chippy, ugly 4 out of 5 wins. But I still believe in this team somehow, some way. I still believe in them, but it's gonna be an ugly 4 out of 5 wins.
You know, it's funny because after this game where I really thought it was winnable, obviously there were so many stretches where the Suns could have pulled away and probably had a blowout the other way. I could see that in a few games, obviously. But that's if they can pull things together. So there I go again, hoping. But yeah, the Suns could definitely win or 6 to 7.
They can. And again, I did say Suns in 6. I didn't say how we were going to get there.
Yeah, but it's going to be ugly.
Yeah. 0-2 is the worst route, but yeah, they all suck as long as they get the series win.
One was sad, like not really sad, but just kind of I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but it's interesting that like we've been sitting here doing the Suns therapy session podcast here, And I feel like we haven't really even talked about the game. Does that make sense? I feel like that's how a lot of my live shows go, like shameless plug. But that's just because of how disappointing this season is. It's like every other live show that I do is like a son's therapy session. You know what I mean?
Well, let's talk a little bit about this game. Let's delve into some.
No, let's not do it.
Hey, we hit 1,000.
Let's go.
Where's the print screen button? Bing. So let's talk a little bit about some of the different statistics that occurred in this game, just in case you didn't watch it and you rely solely on us. The Suns, again, they lost 105-93. Let's start with carry the one over one. Let's start with Matthew's favorite player.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
Ugh, you weren't tonight, Kevin Durant. 6 of 15 from the field, 0 of 2 from beyond the arc. He was 6 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 18 points. He had 2 assists, 6 total rebounds, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, and 1 block shot for Kevin Wayne Durant. Matthew, I know that we were watching this game on playback. Share some of the feedback.
Absolutely frustrated, but I'll have to agree maybe with somebody. Colin Cowherd did say today, I don't know if you just see that Kevin Durant's becoming increasingly irrelevant. Do you believe in that?
What?
Is that accurate?
No.
Irrelevant? Kevin Durant becoming irrelevant.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry to echo it out. Yeah, it's funny to me because I can kind of see his side. I can see it. I can see how frustrated I get, obviously, with him taking the ball at the top of the key, trying to make something happen where there's just dudes all around him. Even ISO one-on-one, he can't get around anybody. So that part of the game is very frustrating to me. Irrelevant.
He's not.
Yes, I can see
it's
that.
Kevin freaking Durant.
In this series, I don't know. I can kind of see it.
Looks like me and John.
Colin Cowherd, I can kind of see it, man.
I don't think he's irrelevant in any way, shape, or form. I think that he is. What do you? I honestly don't. I think that he has some challenges. That's for sure, because I don't think that he trusts a lot of what's around him right now. I think that he's trying to take some things, and we've seen this all season. That's the challenge that Kevin Durant's had all season, is he doesn't trust what's around him. There's been inconsistencies around him, and he starts to take the ball into his own hand a little too much. And I've said this numerous fucking times throughout the season. And I know the KD stands won't agree with me, and I don't give a shit anymore, okay? He doesn't need to be your primary guy. He needs to be your secondary guy. He needs to be coming off screens. He needs to be getting down low, running some ISO, and then a turnaround. He needs to finish the fucking play. I can't tell you how many times, especially in the first half, when the Suns were struggling to score, and Kevin Durant was actually getting by Karl Anthony Towns. And what did he do? Instead of just finishing the play after you already beat him, he'd stop 10 feet away and shoot it. It's like, dude, you're Kevin fucking Durant. Continue one more step and you're laying the ball in. Or you're taking that one more step and then dishing it to Nurk, who will take it down and lose it somehow. But he's settling. There's too much settling for Kevin Durant. And what Matthew's referencing is him being at the top of the key initiating offense doesn't ever work anymore. Katie, you just don't have the quickness anymore. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. He's not irrelevant. He's 35, almost 36 years old. That's what he is. He's still one of the greatest players in the game. He's still one of the best scorers I've ever seen. And I love that he's in the purple and orange, and I get to see him score like he does. But going against a defense like this that has the long defenders and have the physicality to body him up, they're going to take him out of his game. He shot 11 of 17 in game one. He went 6 of 15 tonight, right? That's like Devin Booker numbers in game one. I don't think it was a horrible game by Kevin Durant, but there were some challenges that I have. I don't like him instigating the offense, initiating the offense. There's the right word, initiating the offense. And I don't like him not finishing the plays. But I do like what Saul says right there. I love KD, but I don't trust him anymore. Matthew, you were saying that during the game, right? That you don't trust Kevin Durant's jump shots at times. What are your thoughts on it?
So, first off, on the Colin Cowherd thing, I respect him and everything. However you pronounce his last name.
No, that's good. Just roll with it.
Yeah, Colin Cowherd. But real quick, I'm going to, even though Kevin Durant hasn't been great in this series and the Suns haven't been great in the series, I will, and I might sound like a homer here, but I'm going to kind of defend KD here. That's just, to me, the national media and the quote experts who you can tell barely watch a Suns game. That's just them not defending. That's just them trying to find things to talk about and continue to pick on the Phoenix Suns. And I truly do believe that. Like, I will die on this hill that Shaquille O'Neal is one of the biggest Suns haters ever. You know what I mean? And it's just, again, we see it all the time. ESPN said this. Stephen A. Smith said this about the Suns. They're always attacking Kevin Durant because they'll know he'll go on Twitter and defend himself. And they just love to pick on greatness. But anyways, talking about Kevin Durant in this game anyways, oh boy. It's maybe it is a matter of KD's not trusting what's around him, but it's also, you know, maybe this is where I can only defend Frank Vogel to an extent. Maybe this really does kind of fall back on the coaching and the offensive like scheme and game plan and everything, because, you know, Frank Vogel was like, oh, we need to get Devin Booker, you know, we need to run better screens for him and get him more open. Like, I didn't see much of that tonight. You know, I didn't see Kevin Durant really getting open much. And it all goes back to the Timberwolves defense. Maybe KD needs to somehow, some way get into this takeover mode. I haven't seen that all series to an extent. No,
he took over in game 1 in the first half of game 1. He was the only guy who could fucking score.
Yeah. But we haven't seen it to like the level we know KD can get at.
It's not equaling wins. We got KD to come win a fucking ring. All right.
Exactly, yeah.
He's not doing that. So I'm not yelling at anybody.
No, yell louder.
I'm just, you know, I understand the points. I understand the first game, 31 points, but we still fucking lost. So if Kevin Durant's not equaling victories and wins in this series, then
what's
the trade did not work. And what's the fucking point? Yes, he's fucking great. Everything he's done in the past. But if this is not a guy that you can line up next to Book and go win games, you need to add Bradley Beal, then it's fucking failed. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care what he's done. It's just all we care about is wins. Someone said, do we trade Book in the beginning of the pod? If this is the way the series is going to go down, I don't care who the Suns trade. I don't care who they trade anymore. I just want to win a title. So
no, let's not go there.
Okay, I went too far on that one. I've done that a few times this season.
Trade KD.
Trade KD. I think we can all.
Sorry.
Big Dick Booker.
"41 minutes played, 6 of 13 from the field, 1 of 6 from beyond the arc." Yes, that's 16.7%. Devin Booker ends with a team high 20 points. He has 6 fouls as he fouls out with the 5 assists, the 3 rebounds. We saw the mental edge was lost by Booker in this game. He resorted back to being a little bit of immature Book in this game, fouling himself out with about 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, pushing around Jaden McDaniels, seeing the crowd wearing a bunch of white shirts with Devin Booker's face crying on them. You know, Devin Booker has a constituent of people who do not like him. And he also had 6 turnovers tonight. Horrible game again by Devin Booker. That's 2 consecutive shite games by Devin Booker. Trade him.
Don't trade Devin Booker.
Okay.
Do not trade Devin Booker. Let's not even talk about that. But I will say this, you guys, like looking at it just in terms of numbers, like Mike Conley had 18 points tonight. Rudy Gobert had 18 points tonight. Devin Booker had 20, and he only attempted 13 shots. And you just mentioned the turnovers and the fouls and everything. It has just been an ugly Devin Booker series so far. But I'm still good. I'm still hanging on to that little thread of hope that Devin Booker will see all this criticism that we've rightfully so on both of our channels and podcasts and stuff have been given him, and he'll see that fan backlash, which again he rightfully deserves, and the Phoenix Suns deserve all the criticism and fan backlash. And I hope that he'll just go out and kind of like how I was trying to say about KD, just straight up take over. I feel like there was moments in this game where Booker was trying to find rhythm. But again, it's been the conversation of this whole podcast. The suffocating Timberwolves defense did not allow that to happen. And whatever the Suns' little offensive scheme that they were trying to do to get Booker into rhythm did not work, and it failed miserably. So Don't trade Devin Booker is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't feel like Booker, he never needs to see that from anybody. He never needs to go to the media or the fans, be like, oh, we expect a lot. We always expect him just to show up every game. So he's obviously not been that guy this playoff run or this season for the most part. I mean, he's had a good season, had a great season statistically, but there's been so many games where he's been missed. My thing is going into this. So if the series ends bad, does he fall in line with, like, if Luka doesn't make it this year, if Luka loses in the first round against the Clippers, does he start feeling a lot of pressure? Does Book start getting a lot of shit from the media? Does that start to happen?
Yes.
Is that where his career is going to start to turn? Because now
It's already there.
Yep.
You think it's already there, or is he going to have to? Okay, I never hear it. I never hear like, oh, Book, he needs to prove himself.
They've been trading him to New York forever.
I agree with you, John, because I've made videos on that.
I understand that, but I'm talking about just like now him losing the playoffs. Like, like if Jason Tatum were to actually not make the finals this year with the Celtics team that should be in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like it's the same thing for Booker, right?
Yep.
Just playoff wise, winning a ring. Like, I feel like he'll be right there next to Jason Tatum this offseason if that were to happen.
What I'll say before I say what I'm about to say is let's all make a face so I can screen cap this appropriately, okay? So make a face at the thing, right? Wait for it. Perfect. Okay. No, that's art right there. Okay. Yeah, I absolutely. To your point, Matthew, absolutely. The performance of Devin Booker in this postseason is going to start to garner a reputation, because that reputation's already begun, right? Elimination game Booker. It's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this starts to extrapolate upon that to where Bill Simmons instantly becomes dismissive because he's like, well, Booker in the playoffs. So anyways, on to, Anthony Edwards. You know what I mean? So I do want to get to a couple anecdotal statistics before we go into the subreddit stakeout. So I do like one of the things that Gavin in the Aussies Suns fan said earlier. Says, I complained about 28 3-point attempt in game one. They bounced back and responded with 22 in this game. And that was my frustration in this game, because they had a ton of wide open threes. What about that time Booker had he's out there hanging out by himself. I don't like at the Mall of America, in Minneapolis, and no one's around him and he doesn't shoot it. And that was my frustration. What I was talking about at the front end of this podcast is this team scared. Yeah, they played scared because they had wide open shots and they weren't taking them. And that's what could have kept them in the lead or chipped away at that deficit, and they just didn't do it. So not a fan of that. Points off turnover, they lost that battle 31-2.
Embarrassing.
So turnovers, we had 20. They had 14. Yep. We scored 2 points off their 14 turnovers.
Embarrassing.
We allowed 31.
And John, that I am the biggest critic of turnovers. I'll kind of defend them in this game, even though on Twitter I was roasting them.
Dumb live ball.
You said it perfectly though. It wasn't necessarily the turnovers; it was the points off turnovers that the Timberwolves killed us in. And then obviously, as you just said, we had what, two points off their turnovers? Are you kidding me? Again, we have Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and we can't score. It makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense if you've watched this team at all this season. That's the scary thing.
I quit.
Yeah, I do. Well, let's go to the subreddit stakeout. Both Matthew and I were hanging out in Minnesota tonight, trying to find out what they had to say over there, and they had plenty to say.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I was asking, where is she? And there she is. She's right there. What a valley, Lissy.
Hey, lucky you, Suns Geek. Can we put him in the middle or what? Can we do that? So I just freak him out.
There you go. Let's give him a kiss.
There you go. Oh.
Hold on. I gotta.
You don't have any herpes.
You're ready? We got to screen cap that one too.
Screen cap a new thing. Just find out doing this. It's just I tickle my lips.
Oh my god!
You see what you've done to us, Phoenix Suns?
Yes, look at us.
Yes, look at me.
Look at me. Where is she? Well, here's one for you. Booker too worried filming ads for Call of Duty. He forgot how to play basketball.
Is he on Call of Duty? I thought it was Kevin Durant.
He is too.
I don't know if I can read any of these.
Yes.
Booker. That's not even funny, dude. Booker does this every playoff series against someone. Always talking shit when he's up. Get it? At the Mavericks, and they started talking to Mavericks fans.
Mm-hmm. Then I've got ha 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 ha. Fuck you, Booker. LOL.
A lot of fuck you Bookers. Booker is a little bitch.
Booker fucking sucks.
Ant looking like regular season Ant right now.
Book being the Suns' leader is something special.
Not gonna lie, I prefer being up 20 plus. I have the worst ones for these again.
Are Devin Booker's rosy cheeks natural, or did his grandma squeeze them before the game? Makeup gotta look pretty for the refs.
That's a good one.
That's a good
I
one.
like that one. I like when I've never heard someone comment on his rosy cheeks. Jesus Christ, cat, use your brain. That's the last one I had.
I want to believe that meme with Devin Booker's hair is real so badly.
And then the other ones,
Phoenix is being allowed to play so much more physically.
like, no, we weren't. Let's see here. I'll get to those.
Get off the floor, Vogel, you baby back bitch. Man, fuck Beal.
And then there was the embarrassing thing. Grayson Allen got hurt, and this is what the Minnesota Timberwolves fan base had to say.
See you, Allen. Never feel bad about that cunt getting hurt. Normally, I'd say I don't want someone to hurt himself, but Ted Cruz Jr. can go fuck himself. Bye, Allen, you dirty douchebag. Hope you don't return ever.
It's disappointing.
Oh,
Disappointing.
Did you hear what I was listening to at the club?
What were Crank it.
But it is black
and the light is brown. She arches her back while she runs around. I wanna give a huggy to little smudgy, but she wants me to put her down. She's so darn cute, that smudgy wudgy. Let me cuddle you till you drown. She plays with a feather, and she's kind of wide. No matter what the weather, she wants to go outside. We think she's a maiden, but who really knows? She'd sleep until noon if she was on your clothes. I wanna give a huggy to little smudgy, but she wants me to put
Song about my cat. Turn that off.
She's so dark.
That's a song about my cat that I made. The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout. We got like 1,100 people watching. We're fucking bumping out to Smudgy Wudgy.
You get a copyright claim. You get a copyright claim.
No, that is
Actually,
a
that's
song that I created about my cat. We
love
using
it.
AI.
I love it. You saved our channels.
Oh, yes, I did. And at the same time, yes, TF timepiece. The Suns are causing you guys to do drugs.
Yep.
On that note,
Jam Star of the Game.
who do we give the Jam Star of the Game to in this one?
Drew Eubanks.
That's bad.
That's bad.
FML.
I give it. Yeah, I give it to nobody.
Nobody.
Take that.
Take
I don't have to choose anybody.
Damn. I'm gonna give it to the Timberwolves dance team because I think they're AI too.
Yeah, they are AI.
You know, I just don't know. Obviously, the next game for the Suns at home on Friday, 7:30 p.m. Arizona time, so a later game, so 4:30 to 7:30. What adjustments need to be made? I'll start with you, Suns Geek. What adjustments can you see? What do you think is going to happen? Kill us, please. Kill us with your kind words and thoughts and ideas.
All season long, well, at least throughout most of the season, big chunks of the season, I'm like, oh man, the Suns need to be a better defensive team. The Suns defense this, the Suns defense that. And kind of late in the season, we saw the Suns defense improve. And I know it sounds crazy, but throughout this game, defensively, they were actually pretty good. So I really do believe this when I say this, that now it comes down to the Suns hitting, making, and taking great shots. I don't even care about the defense. I don't care how ugly the win is. The Phoenix Suns just need to straight up hit shots. And like we talked about earlier, I'm the Suns' biggest critic when it comes to turnovers. I don't care about the turnovers. If the Wolves turn over the ball, they need to score points off of those turnovers.
Agreed.
And look, there's probably a million other things I forgot about. But like you said, it's like a rinse and repeat of game one. Those are the kind of adjustments we need to make and everything. And look, I don't care if Jalen or Jaden McDaniels goes off for 50 in this series. I do not care. We need to do what we did a pretty good job tonight for the most part of stopping or containing Anthony Edwards. We need to contain him. Can't let Rudy Gobert and Mike Conley go off for 18. You know what I mean? Let Jaden or Jalen McDaniels go off for 50. Who cares? I don't even know if that answers your question, but
what do you think, Matt?
Well, yeah, it does. You know what? We could be like the Lakers, where the Lakers, gave it their best and they ended up losing that game still to the Denver Nuggets. But the Suns, they've had opportunities in this game to pull away and kind of just make it their own and just kind of take the game and head back to Phoenix 1-1. I can still see them just kind of running out early, getting ahead, and just never really looking back. That's how good the Suns team can be.
They need to do that.
So, yeah, just the adjustments are – I'm not even going to talk about turnovers because we talk about it all year long.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, limit the turnovers, but just take advantage of everything you have on the offensive end with the great opportunities and the great players you have on the court. Know who you are. Look deep down inside yourself and know who you are. That's what I want you to do.
Preach, Matthew. Preach.
Remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. You must take your place in the circle of life.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think I just want what needs to happen. The Suns need to play to a fraction of their potential. They haven't even competed in this. They've competed for 2.5 quarters each game and then just fallen off. I want to see at least 3 quarters.
Preach.
So, I mean, that's all I really got. A reminder to everybody who's watching or listening: if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Hit the thumbs up button. What's so funny?
Ollie, well, I don't know why it's a hamster AI.
Well,
I know that's funny.
I do want to give a shout out to Seth. He says he's $19.99 in the super chat. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Says you guys make bad games less painful. Love y'all in this community. We love you guys too, just to hang out with us and make sure that we're not completely crazy in what we see sometimes. I want to give a shout out to some of the people who have rated us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't rated the Suns Jam Session on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars, write a review. We will read it right here. This is from Stefalinadlis. It's like a Greek name. First Class Suns Podcast. John and Matthew's Suns Jam Session is a tour de force of sports analysis, engaging banter, and pure fandom. Each episode is a masterclass in basketball discussion, infused with infectious energy and genuine love for the Phoenix Suns. Although I didn't sound like I love the Suns tonight. Whether you're tuning in for the latest game breakdown or their insightful takes on all things Suns, prepare to be entertained and captivated regardless of the team's performance. John and Matthew alone possess the ability to transform the most heartbreaking of Suns losses, like tonight, and challenging seasons into enjoyable, must-listen experiences. Hurry. When the Suns manage to win their first ring, you'll want to already be solidified as one of their many dedicated jamsters. I love that. I've got a couple more to read here. Thantos 2112, best post game. Check out playback. This podcast is the best. Well articulated. I can't even articulated. Well articulated breakdowns of games, enthusiastic contributions from fans in the chat, and also very importantly, they are hilarious, witty, but not afraid of dumb humor. Has it all. We just played a song about my cat. Arizona Ron 82, 5 stars for the new track. I'm a lifelong Suns fan, longtime jamster. I've been listening to this sweet new track on repeat and getting psyched for the playoffs. Thanks to Matt and John for all the work you put in and earned those press passes. Go Suns. Thank you, Arizona Ron 82. And we will have that track as our outro. Before we do that, go ahead, Suns Geek. Tell everyone where they can follow you.
Yeah, just search Suns Geek on YouTube. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and I would say I'm on TikTok, but I guess it's getting banned, so I don't know. Just search Suns Geek, and you'll find me on some website, but definitely YouTube, my number one priority. And seriously, you guys, just us collaborating on both channels really does mean a lot to me and my channel. It helps support me, and I love working with you guys. Obviously, because I'm rocking the nice
yeah,
Suns
that
Jam
hat looks
hat.
nice.
And by the way, in my description box and in your box, you can find these hats along with a Suns Geek hat as well. John, you were nice enough to design the logo for me, and I do appreciate it. But seriously, love working with you guys. Again, just search Suns Geek and you will find me.
Matthew, can they find you anywhere?
I think you're muted, Matt.
Probably on mute. That's where they can find you. And
I said in the kitchen, I'm gaining some fucking weight, dude.
it's all those playbacks we're doing, and you're sitting around eating oatmeal the whole time.
I know, fuck,
honey
dude.
and
Bowls
honey
and bowls of
apple butter.
oatmeal, some raisins.
He had a pizza when we did playback.
Hey,
I went through
you and I
went through a box
my own pizza
of wheat thins. And you can follow me at Darth Void. You can read all my writing at Bright Side of the Sun, where I'm the managing editor. We will be coming to you live on Friday. So until then,
Yes.
Matthew, tell them what to do.
Go home and love your Smelly Willy Willy. What was her name?
Smudgy Wudgy.
Smudgy Wudgy.
She's literally right next to me right now,
Smelly Willy Willy.
taking a shit. Cats, what are you gonna do? Let's drop the beat.
Call Suns Jam Session, post-game thrill, John and Matthew, podcast skill, analyzing games with comedic flair since 2019, they've been right here. Suns Jam Session, post-game pod, talking Suns ball with the Jamster squad, from the Valley of the Sun, spreading the word, original podcast, haven't you heard? Subreddit stakeout behind enemy lines, Batman, Valley, Lissy, and Curry combined, reporting live, with jokes to the brain, adding flavor to the podcast game. Suns Jam Session, post-game pod, talking Suns ball with the Jamster squad, from the Valley of the Sun, spreading the word, original podcast, haven't you heard? Subreddit stakeout behind enemy lines, Batman, Valley, Lissy, and Kermit combined, reporting live, with jokes to the brain, adding flavor to the podcast game. Suns Jam Session, post-game pod, talking Suns ball with the Jamster squad, from the Valley of the Sun, spreading the word, original podcast, haven't you heard? Die-hard fans are just passing through, Suns Jam Session's got some for you. Lick the eyes to the feet, spit a bite, with the Suns through the day and the night. After every game, don't miss the beat. Suns Jam Session is gonna bring the heat. John and Matthew leading the way in the Suns podcast. Right on, stay. Suns Jam Session, post